Your footage can start looking better before you buy anything new, before you open the settings and before you open DaVinci Resolve. Sometimes it just needs one better decision before you press record. So in this video I want to go through small filmmaking decisions that I think about while filming outdoors, in nature and in locations where I don't control everything. Because a beautiful place does not automatically give you a strong shot. The subject is there, but the frame does not really guide the viewer. So before I press record, I try to make one simple decision. What should the viewer actually notice? If the shot is about scale, I probably need to go wider. If it is about a detail, I need to get closer. If the place already feels calm and quiet, maybe the camera should stay still instead of trying to add unnecessary movement. One of the simplest ways to improve a shot is to move before you accept the first frame. The first angle is usually just where you happen to be standing. But very often the better shot is only a few steps away. Zooming or cropping only changes how much of the scene you see from one position. Moving changes the relationship between the subject, foreground, background and light. This is why the same location can look average from one spot and suddenly much more cinematic from another. Another decision that can instantly make the footage feel more intentional is cleaning the frame. When I'm filming nature or landscapes, the main subject can be beautiful, but the frame around it can still be messy. A bright sign on the edge, a railing at the bottom, a random object pulling attention away, or a foreground that does not add anything can make the shot feel much more casual. And when you are in the location, it's easy to ignore those things because your brain is focused on this beautiful part. But the camera sees everything. So before pressing record, I remind myself to look at the frame itself. Sometimes the best improvement is removing one distracting thing. Another small decision is noticing what the light is doing in your frame. Not in a technical way, just paying attention to what is actually happening. Sometimes the light is making the shot better. It reflects from the water, creates shape on the mountains, or comes through the clouds for a few seconds and suddenly the whole scene has more depth. But sometimes the opposite happens. The light disappears, the subject becomes flat, the sky becomes the brightest and most distracting part of the frame. Or the place still looks beautiful in real life but feels dull on camera. This is why I try not to record completely on autopilot. If the light is doing something interesting, I want to use it. And if you ignore light completely, your footage will often feel more casual even if the location is beautiful. A lot of shots are recorded before the moment actually happened. You see a landscape, press record immediately, wait few seconds and leave. But nothing really changed in the frame. The water didn't move in an interesting way, the bird didn't do anything. The scene was beautiful, but the shot has no moment, and I had a lot of situations where I waited for a few minutes or maybe even half an hour just for something to happen in the scene. This is one of the biggest differences between just collecting footage and actually filming. Another small decision that can help you in the edit is holding the shot longer, and it matters a lot more than you might think. When you are filming, 3 seconds can feel long. In the edit, 3 seconds can disappear instantly. Especially if you want to use the shot under voiceover, slow it down, stabilize it, reframe it, or let the viewer actually absorb the place. A lot of beginner footage is just too short. I had this problem a lot. When I was filming, I thought that I have enough footage to cover everything, and then while I was editing, I noticed that I pressed record, I moved the camera, I changed the exposure, focused, and then the usable amount of data was like 5 seconds. So when the frame is good, I try to hold it much longer than feels natural. When people record a beautiful place, they usually film the obvious wide shot. And that makes sense, you just want to show where you are. But the edit often needs something smaller, a detail that belongs to the place. If I'm filming a waterfall, that could be water moving over rocks. If I'm filming a landscape, it could be the ground, wind, flowers, texture, or anything that supports the feeling of that place. Details make the footage feel more complete, they add the rhythm to the edit, they help you move between bigger shots, and they make the viewer feel closer to the place. One good detail can make the whole sequence feel much more intentional. When you are trying to make the footage look better, it's very easy to overcomplicate the shot. You want camera movement, foreground, depth, a reveal, or something that feels more cinematic. But sometimes the simple version is the one that actually feels better. This is something I think is very useful in the field. When I try to do a complicated shot, I always make sure that I have a simple version of it, in case if this complicated one is not usable. If the movement is shaky, I still have the clean shot. If the reveal doesn't work, I still have the saved version. If the handheld shot feels too nervous, I can use the static one. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't experiment. Experiment as much as you like, that's where you gain your experience. But when you really care about the shot, just make a simple version that is for sure usable. And often when you look at the footage later, the simple shot feels more mature, because it does not fight for attention. It lets the subject do the work. Camera movement is powerful, but it can ruin your footage very quickly. A lot of beginner footage has movement in almost every shot. A pan, a tilt, a handheld push, or a random adjustment that happens only because the shot felt too static. And suddenly the camera becomes more noticeable than the subject, or the shot is not usable. So one small decision is to ask whether the shot actually needs movement. If the subject is already moving, maybe the camera can stay still. If the landscape is strong, maybe a locked frame is enough. If the environment already creates motion, maybe your job is just to hold the composition. And if you do move the camera, make the movement feel intentional. A good camera move should reveal something, follow something, or change the feeling of the shot. If it doesn't do any of that, it might only add chaos. This is why a stable shot often looks more professional than an overcomplicated shot that barely works. One decision that changed my filmmaking was thinking about the edit before I get home. Because when you are in a beautiful location, it's easy to collect shots that look good individually, but later they don't connect. You have a few pretty wide shots, but no detail. You have movement, but no still frame. You have a busy shot, but nothing quiet. You have a hero shot, but no smaller movement that can make the edit breathe. And then the edit feels much harder than it should, so while filming I try to think what I will need later. If I already have the wide shot, I probably need something closer. If I have the hero shot, I probably need detail. If everything is moving, I probably need something still. It's all about giving your future edit more choices. If your footage still feels random or flat, check out this video next, because I go deeper into beginner habits that can slow your progress even if you are filming more. Thanks for watching, and remember, let your films be shot by reality.